Thank you, everybody, for showing up tonight. We had a really good turnout here for kind of a rainy evening out there and that. Had some good rain here the last couple of days. Also got some people joining us here online. So tonight, again, we do the exhibition night. Thank you for those. How many images do we have tonight, Jane?
41.
41? That's a good number. So again, for those that haven't participated in this before and that, we have Jane will be pulling up the images in that. As yours comes up, feel free to give a little bit of background on it, like maybe where it was, what you were thinking of, if there's something that the image is special to you, and if there were any special post-processing techniques that you used. Just informal, but feel free to again give a little bit of the background behind the image, and then we'll open it up to the other people here in the room to weigh in and offer suggestions and go from there. So again, I know I always look forward to these exhibition nights. I know I've learned quite a bit over the years from the feedback that I've received from those. I didn't have anything else on mine, but I did want to point out, thank you for those that were able to make it to, we had Carino and Roger, and I think we had one other person that were able to make it to the bird event, the photography event that was down in Florence. Was it a week or two ago, Saturday? I was out of town. I would have loved to have made that.
Nature's educators.
Okay, nature's educators, but again, some unique birds in flight, some birds that were perched and so forth. But rather than me describing, if you want to talk a little bit about it, if there's something you want to say, but and when I say that, the idea is to see if there's any interest in maybe doing a half day.
Oh, wow.
There you go. A half day program or something like that, sometime later in the year, maybe fall, whenever they might do those.
And there's gonna be some photos here from down there, but to me, it was one of the most awesome experiences I ever had. Because a couple of things you're gonna deal with when you're doing wildlife photography. One is, you can't get close to the birds. I mean, they're in 24/7 survival mode, so it's hard to get close to them. And secondly, anytime you do get a picture of them, you're gonna crop quite a bit, because it's like I said, it's hard to get close to them. But at this place down there, I mean, we were right up on them. Roger and I were thinking, do we need a like 200 to 800 or 500 with an extent with a I took every picture there with a 270 to 200
Oh, my gosh.
because they were right there.
Oh,
And what's nice is the people that were there, first they asked me what kind of birds you want to take pictures of. And you just picked what you wanted and they brought them out and they're real accommodating. Where do you want to put them? We have suggestions. They have several dead trees, things that you can put them in, or you can say, I want it here, or I want it with this background, or very accommodating. But yeah, it was an awesome experience. You got to be real close to the birds.
what's
And then the birds that flew
that's a
with you,
shirt.
they flew many times right between Roger and I. We'd be about 3 feet apart and they would fly right between us.
Oh, wow.
One of them landed on my
The
head.
vulture landed.
The vulture landed on my head. Now, what's that say about the meat underneath it? Was I obviously?
Oh, nice.
You had a hat on.
Well, yeah, we got some wonderful images down there. I mean,
Wow.
it'll take you a long time to get these photos if you do it yourself and you're out of the wild. But to be up close to them like this, it was awesome.
Okay, yeah, thank you for sharing that. Thanks for those look amazing.
This is Carino's.
It's been doing some dog photography and just seeing what people think. Colors look a bit odd though. So we're good.
It looks pretty good on the screen.
Good screen there.
Yeah, it's good, especially with the mouth open and the teeth showing and the tongue showing. It's good.
I like your shallow depth of field. In the background and foreground. Did you vignette it?
I don't know. I don't think I did so on this one.
So I was thinking, even if you didn't vignette, if you just darkened a little at the top and the bottom, closing it in a little bit, might be good with it.
It'll highlight them better, yeah.
This one's called Building Within a Building. It's Kathy's. This is mine. Going downtown Denver for a walkabout from the Millennium Bridge,
Union Station, so it was around that area. What I've liked about this photo is you got the reflection, showed the entire building against, the backdrop of the other high rise. When I've taken pictures, like this before, most of the time you only get part of that reflected building, and in this case, it was pretty much intact, so I just thought it was different from that aspect. I think the only question I have is, how much to leave on the bottom to kind of anchor it, the base.
And like, if you were to shoot that and go all the way down to ground level, were there like cars or any other distractions along that?
Yeah, there
So-
was, just kind of cropped it up because in some ways the cars could almost be a distraction, but that, I don't think it was that big of a deal. You could probably go either way. So I left as much as I could. It looks like it got, the icons on the bottom might be cutting it off some.
I'd like it better if you cropped off all the lighter stuff on the bottom myself.
Okay,
For me, it's about the two buildings.
okay.
That's all it's about.
You don't need that as a base
I
or
don't
an
think so,
anchor?
but.
Okay.
I would, yeah, and so I just recently did this as well with Tony the last week or so. And so I know for me personally, those lines on the edges. For me, I have to have those. I would just straighten up the. Use your.
Perspective from.
Yeah, we
What-
did, and in anticipation that would come up, taking a pic, do you want it straight horizontally or vertically? And we used a little bit of the tilt up, the perspective.
Right, but you see the black line on the far left side of the window, the black line that's on the farthest left side.
Oh,
See
there,
how it's angled up into towards the center?
that one?
No,
Very
on the
left.
very far left.
Yeah.
See that line?
Oh, that line,
In my mind, that's gotta be straight.
or crop it?
Well, no, because then the next
The
line
next
over
line.
is still, you're not, just propping it's not gonna
Oh.
fix it. The image
Oh,
has gotta be
More
straight.
obvious, yeah, yeah.
But that's just me personally.
Well, it's just tough to figure out, vertical, horizontal,
Yeah.
so,
In
I can play
Photoshop
around
or
with that.
Lightroom, it's super easy to do.
Oh, okay,
So it's not difficult. And one of the things that I learned while doing this is that because you're not at eye level, you want to shoot wider than you think you're gonna need, so that when you do level and straighten, you still have all the content within the image that you want. That's what I learned from this experience.
I've made the mistake of shooting what feels like it's the right composition
Uh-huh.
and then get back, and then whenever you do what you're talking about is trying to straighten those lines, like
Yeah.
now you lose part of the edge of the building.
It's a great shot, though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a fantastic shot. I'm not taking anything away from it.
oh, no,
It just needs to be straight in my mind.
yeah, and I knew that I need to pay attention to that.
But
And
you,
if you get rid of that from the bottom, you see the street lights here, I would get rid of those.
No.
I'm sorry, Darren, I interrupted.
no. I've said my piece.
Yeah.
I just wondered. Go on, what Darren said, if you use the transform feature. In light. And your reflected building. Use that as your alignment and pull it forward, pull the top forward to straighten it out.
Mhm.
Because the building that's doing the reflection is just doing reflection. But your main object is the reflected building.
Right,
Get that one aligned. I
And
think
you're-
give it greater impact.
okay, and you said it's a transform
Transform
feature, okay, great, okay.
And real quick before we move on, I know we're already past the time on this one, but one of the things that we're talking, I was talking to Darren and talked to a few other people on that, but downtown might be a place for doing like one of these photo walks that we were talking about earlier. What I was telling Darren and others is that in the mornings, you can park for free down there early before 8 o'clock or whatever in that, and Two benefits. One, it's free parking all the way till 8 o'clock. At the parking meters, they don't start charging until 8. And two, there's not as many people in your scenes and that. I mean, and you got a great one here without any people in that, but if we want to do that like as a group sometime, if people are wanting to get up early in the morning, it's it really is kind of fun just walking around.
This
and
was
looking for
a
that.
Saturday morning and we started about 9.
Okay,
Oh,
Yeah, and it was pretty empty.
yeah, on the weekend, early mornings and that. This morning at I can say this, 6:15, it wasn't very crowded either. this
Yeah.
morning, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank
This
you.
one's called Burrowing Owl. This is Rogers.
Yeah, this was one of the ones that I took at the, nature's, nature's educators, thing this weekend. And, this is the first bird that we actually, took any shots of. The background, I was wondering if that's a little distracting. I tried to dim it down a little bit further, but then it got black patches that were much worse. And how to deal with that one.
I think done a good job of making the bird stand out from that background.
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Because it's a busy background, it's a busy bird, but stands out nicely.
It does.
Yeah, I mean, the depth of field, what'd you say where your aperture was? I mean, it was, and how much
How much,
depth was back there, but I don't see that back there as being, because the focus brings you right to where you want the focus to go, but the bird's eyes is perfect.
Yeah.
The other thing I do too is do a radial gradient, invert it, and then darken the area around the bird.
think about
Yeah, just a little bit when they'll bring
Yeah,
the eyes
just the lighting.
right down in there.
It stands out.
All right, this is called Canyon Tree. This is Jeff's.
Yeah, I took this last November on my trip to Utah. This is actually going up to Canara Falls in one of the canyons. I spotted this tree clinging to the side of the canyon, growing out of the side of the rock there. So it's a little bit more red on my screen, the canyon walls, but I mean, it was probably 100 or 150 feet up there. So it was a big
Jeez.
canyon.
It looks like the face where that. Looks like the trees right next
Oh,
to
it's
the
a
eye.
red tree. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's what I see it like instantly as a face.
I've been there once before, but it was like January, February, or something like that. But I like in that time of year, the year there where you get that fall color in the tree. That contrast with the red is real nice.
Is that a fall? Did you say that was in the fall?
Yeah, it was like
Oh.
first week in November.
The only thing I would recommend is that little white area here,
Yeah.
to, clone that out, because my eye kind of goes to that.
Yeah.
Especially since it's right across from the tree.
I saw that too.
That's a fun place though. I've only been there once. And
Yeah,
hiked back
it's
there.
nice.
And I just got to like that first, well, the major one with the ladder and all that stuff,
Yeah.
but that's.
This one's called Chatfield Reflection. This is also Jeff's.
Yeah, this is out in Chatfield one morning. Just a reflection of the row trees out there. I did crop this down to eliminate the trunks of the tree, so this is all reflection. Just like the contrast between the cool colors on the bottom and the warm colors on the top.
Yeah, I like the colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, you picked the real good.
They're going.
Are these the trees that were removed?
Yeah, I took this last October, I think it was.
Now you wouldn't have the trees to distract from your reflection.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in fact, Darren was talking about this earlier in that, how it's unfortunate. I mean, at Chatfield, you had this window of time to go get these great shots like that, but it's too bad that that window is past us. But this one is like.
Makes
one
it
of the
more
better
valuable
ones.
now.
That's right.
Now we have to take people out in a paddle boards and have them stand on all the stumps.
You know what? That's not a bad idea. Like after they flooded, if the stumps are only like a foot or so down, you could get a bunch of people out there to stand or something. You could actually get some cool images.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
fun.
That's not a bad idea, Bruce.
we go.
Volunteers.
Yeah.
They cut all those down.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
gone. Yeah, they're all gone.
So I have a question to everybody. Do you think you should crop this down a little bit,
A hair.
just by a hair where
Yeah.
that line is?
That little edge.
Cause I
Yeah.
see that as kind of distracting a little.
Oh, on top?
Just a
Yeah.
bit
Yeah,
more.
just on the top.
Yeah, that grayness up there, I did notice that. I just,
Lines,
yeah.
And then have you tried flipping it over? So
No.
the trees are coming out. Sometimes when I take
Yeah.
reflections, I try that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but
Can't really see them too well, but the red and reeds, whatever they are.
yeah.
I started cropping it down and get a clean break on it.
Oh,
And
I see. I see that on the top.
yeah, I understand that. I didn't really like the gray either.
If you flipped it, then wouldn't the little branches look funny?
That's what I was
Yeah, the
wondering
branch-
too. Yeah, if they were.
Yeah,
Would
but-
it be upside down?
Well, the reflection's upside down right now.
Is it?
Yeah,
I like the
Oh.
contrast. I like the contrast with the little branches that are in focus, contrast with the reflection. It's a
Good point, yeah.
Okay,
nice counterpoint.
this one's called Colorado Bat Owl. It's Bruce Norman's.
So these owls, there's these owls in Parker that I go photograph every year and the babies were out. And this guy fell. And he's hanging upside down and he's scared to death and he doesn't know what to do. And he's just hanging there. And eventually he fell to the ground and was fine. But they can't, they're at a place where they can kind of fly to the ground, but they can't fly up. So they have to walk across and then climb up the trees to get back. But he was fine, but it looked like a bat the way he was hanging.
I
Yeah,
feel like if I fell out of a tree, I feel like the ground would be the best place to be. I don't know if I
Well,
climb.
he's just hanging there trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah,
Where's
that's a
the
great
mama?
shot though.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Where was the
Well,
mama?
Mama was there, but what's mom gonna do?
Get down and say, it's okay.
It's okay.
Good job.
Take my hand.
Yeah, no, that's a great shot.
Yeah, it is. We were wondering if they were out there this year.
Yeah, they were there. There were 3 babies again.
Oh, wow.
Really?
They-
Wow.
They have to stroll out there.
Yeah. This one's called Cracked, and this is Jeff's.
so this is on my trip again to Utah. This is Zion, so I was exploring one of the, I don't know, little side canyons in the eastern part of the park and I thought of enough of the scene to take my camera out, but I didn't really think too much of it until I converted to black and white and the contrast really and the light and the darkness really came out, I thought, and just how all the rock and canyon walls converting to that center point.
Yeah,
Something really, it kind of grew on me.
they're leading lines for sure, right?
I did do a lot of cleanup in the photo. There was a lot of bird crap on the trees. It must have been a nest or something up above, but
Very cool.
It's pretty cool, the way everything's pointing in.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
converging in that from all different
Yeah.
angles, right, all different directions sometimes. In the black and white, I'm kind of visualizing what it probably looked like in color, but I'm sure that the black and white was a great choice on that one. I like the tonality throughout it is nice.
The only thing I see is some, I don't know if you see my pointer, but did you do some cloning in here?
no,
Oh, they're just lines like that?
I guess I can't really see them, but it's pretty dark in there. But yeah, I didn't do any cloning there.
The bulls, this is Michael's.
So it's just kind of playing around, but I did some headshots for a bank and they had like 18 employees come through and so forth. Well, one of the employees had her son was off for spring break or whatever, and so he just happened to be there. So I said, well, why don't you sit down and we'll take a photo of him. And then afterward, he was wearing this Michael Jordan jersey. And I thought, well, let me see if I can create something out of that. So I used Midjourney AI program to create to create a locker room scene of Chicago Bulls. And what I did was I had like a Chicago Bull, not a real player, but I said, create with a player in the scene. And so then what I had to do then Photoshop out the other person, and then I brought him into the scene to cover that up, and then a couple of other things to try and make sure that the direction of light was hopefully fairly consistent in that, so. So that was it, just kind of
Did
a
he
fun
see
thing.
it? Has he seen this before?
I sent it to his mother, so hopefully he's seen it.
It's an awesome shot.
This
It
is
is,
kind of a
okay.
fun thing to, like I said, I don't do a lot of the AI stuff or whatever in that, but this was one of those ones where, again, there was nothing AI as far as the portrait photo of him. The AI was in to
Backdrop.
creating a backdrop for it, and then
So what's with the woman's red hat on the floor?
I was trying to figure it out.
Well, it's AI just doesn't know what it's doing.
AI didn't.
You did a great job merging them, I think.
A red hat on the floor?
You did good.
Off to the right.
Yeah, sometimes AI will come up with some crazy things or whatever in that, so
It's a baseball hat with a short bill.
Yeah.
yeah.
In a basketball locker room.
In a men's basketball locker room. Maybe there's,
When I saw this on Instagram, or Facebook, I would have never guessed that. I know, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. It's a gentle reminder.
Yeah, very nice.
Very nice.
Nice job.
He was messing up.
Denver Alley, this is Michael's as well.
yeah, so I was up at a event in Denver, and as I was walking through, I had my camera with me and came across, let's see, where is this, 15th and 15th, so downtown, not too far from like the, convention center and all that, but 15th and something, I can't remember what the cross street was, but as I was walking, I looked down this aisle and I saw, I say alleyway, and saw those pipes and saw the yellow, and so I just took a shot of that. And then I did have to do what we talked about earlier, a little bit of that, making sure that the lines are hopefully straight, and did the best I could with the transform programs and software, but anyways, that's what that one was.
Is transform in Photoshop?
Like your camera launch.
Yeah,
It's in
all of the programs have the same thing. They're just slightly.
Yeah, I did it in Lightroom. I did it in Lightroom, but if you go into like a Photoshop, Adobe Camera Raw, it will have that perspective.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and in Photoshop, it's under the free transform.
Right.
Then there's options for different, how you want to do it.
What does it have? Free transform, and transform has perspective, and
Warp and skew and distort,
yeah. I like this.
I like the industrial look. I was looking at it, but I think I'd flip it upside down. Where the tunnel was on the top.
I didn't even think about that one, but let's see. And have what here would be the ground, here to be like a ceiling then?
Yeah, like it was you were at an upper level looking into a tunnel into a building on the upper floor.
Oh, okay.
That's just my thought.
Departing track one, this is Tony's,
Cell phone chat.
Really?
really?
Karen and I were down shooting buildings, and we stopped by Union Station to play around there. I enjoy getting trains in motion.
That's really cool.
And I saw it on his phone, he's not lying.
Love the color.
That was on your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just held it in your hand still and
Yep.
wow.
You got a steady.
Did you have a, what's it?
It's a long exposure
Okay.
with a pixel phone.
Okay. That was, you answered my question. I was gonna ask about the long exposure, because you can do like in live, this is with the iPhones, you can do a long exposure. Can do it with water and then go to, I can turn a little bit.
You just shoot the picture in live and then it has
In
4
live.
different modes you can
Yes.
choose from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you can get water to look soft if it's moving and so forth. I haven't tried it with a moving train, but
Is that a
Yeah.
person in the upper left there too?
There's two people in the picture.
Yeah,
Free.
the one I like, the one in the upper left, I
Yeah,
think is
cool.
distracting for me anyway.
Yeah.
I just love the colors of
mhm.
the movie train.
It's really cool.
Silver Streak.
What was the title?
It's called Departing Track One, because you can see track one there.
Oh, yeah.
This one's called Dog Class. It's Carino's.
I just took a class on how to take pictures of pets. And this was the trainer of the pet. So this is her and her dog.
This one's great, the interaction
Yeah.
is, and the focus and, yeah, the expressions, both of them, that's really good.
I was
Colors are
curious
nice.
what people thought, it was kind of like a portrait picture. And I haven't done very many portraits.
I just wish the heads were either higher or lower. I feel like they're right in the middle between the ground and the sky. So the dog is kind of washed out because her hair obviously stands out,
He's in the lighter spot, the
Yeah.
dog.
but I mean, that's not a huge issue at all.
You could crop down, you could crop a little of the sky out, maybe.
Sit still.
Desaturate the background a little bit.
Put a stormy sky in the back.
Or full
Have it
size.
open.
Maybe go black and white.
Yeah.
But the subjects are real nice and sharp.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're really good.
This is called Emergence. Jeff,
Yeah, this is from Zion too. It was a gloomy morning. I love taking photos in the fog, and these clouds and fog were going in and out of those tops of the canyons and mountains. I pulled over on one of the pullouts there going toward the tunnel up the canyon there, but just shot this, and this ridge, it was coming in and out of the clouds. I thought it was pretty cool.
Nice.
It looks cold.
It wasn't too bad.
It's November.
Black and white.
Yeah,
It actually reminds me of photos I've seen in Tibet with the monasteries up, you know, against on a cliff or
Mhm.
you know, the wall of stone. It has that kind of Far Eastern imagery for me.
So you need a monk. Up on
Yeah.
in orange.
Yeah.
AI can do that.
Pretty.
This is really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, this one's gonna be a lighthearted one. It's called Escaping with the Prize. This is mine.
Wow. Wow.
And you're not supposed to take pictures of the back end.
Yeah.
I just thought it was fun. And I didn't know whether to call it flying fish or what, you know, or fish out of water or whatever to say, but
DoorDash.
yeah. There you go.
DoorDash.
DoorDash is a good one.
DoorDash.
So
Sushi DoorDash.
obviously the sun was at its back and anyway. It was just kind of a fun picture.
But good shot, good action shot. I mean, and like you say, sometimes nature doesn't always pose
Yeah,
right in the right
compares it
way.
with birds flying away from you.
Ready to say
It's
something.
an amazing catch. Amazing
Yeah.
shot. Maybe a little vignette.
If that was my
Yeah.
picture, it'd be my
Yeah.
prize.
Was that on a
possession.
cell phone or?
Yeah.
You're right.
iPhone
Motorola
5,
Razr flip phone.
Yeah, the flip phone.
The first photos.
iPhone 5.
Kodak Instamatic.
And it's a panorama too. She took several. to
Yeah,
get-
right.
to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
one.
just put it all together, right? Well, it got pretty good detail in the feathers and stuff. so.
Yeah, it's good. I was gonna say that it's nice and sharp.
Jane, what lens did you use?
This was with a 600.
Are those
Okay.
feathers, sorry, are those feathers illuminated by the sunlight? Is it like,
Uh-huh.
it was, okay, it wasn't just a natural color? of
No,
bird?
that was, it was just, the morning sun just
The
hitting
morning
it.
sun, yeah. nice.
Yeah, because you can see the shadows here.
Oh.
There, so it just,
An amazing glow.
In contrast with the gold and the black.
yeah,
That was the 4 minutes the sun was out.
yeah, wasn't out very much that morning. And then that fish just like, oh my God.
What happened? Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, finding the right stick. And this is Bruce Raymond.
Down at the Heron Rookery down in Castle Rock, and they were still building nests, so. I was trying some different stuff, and it was the same thing, it was early morning light, a lot of shadows under his wings, so I tried to pull that out. And then I thought I'd just convert it to black and white, so, and then make it somewhat high key, so any suggestions,
It's nice and sharp. On the high key. Was it like naturally were like the clouds and things like that?
it was a
there, or
pretty
just-
light blue sky.
Yeah, okay. No, it looks good.
There wasn't much in the sky, so,
Just kind of a plain blue sky.
yeah, it's pretty boring.
And, yeah. Cause I was out there like, I don't know, 5 weeks ago or something like that, when they were doing the nest building. And they were real active like that, so I got a lot of photos. I was out there just this last weekend or whatever. And and they were only like, I was only there for about 30 minutes or so, something like that, and only saw 2 fly. They were not very
They're
active.
probably sitting on the nest.
That's what was happening. I think you have to kind of wait now for the eggs to hatch, and then, which should be any day now, right?
I would think, yeah.
But they, yeah,
Because when we were there, they were just building.
They were busy.
They were
They were
building.
shuttling back and
Back
forth
and
with
forth.
sticks.
yeah, the one morning I was there, they were doing that, so I got plenty.
From about late March to a couple of weeks ago, they're pretty busy building those nests.
So the one thing that's bothering me that I keep looking at, there's a little leaf coming off a branch right above the beak.
Okay,
I keep looking at that.
There's this little piece right there, and we'll get rid of that white.
okay.
5 for formation. Kathy?
Hi, this is mine. We went to go visit good friends that live in Oregon, and we went down to the Tule Lake National Wildlife Refuge in California, in Northern California, which is so close to Oregon. And I got lucky, and there are lots of migrating birds. These are tundra swans and greater white-fronted geese.
Very nice.
Yeah, and the fact, I mean, it's not very often that I see, especially like flying in a string. I mean, sometimes you'll see, you know, a string of geese or a string of ducks or a string of sandhill cranes or whatever it might be. But to have like a mix of, I see it a lot of times where, like in a scene, you'll have a variety of different types, but not all flying together like that in a line. That's nice.
Thanks.
I like the light on it. Good detail.
It was
Yeah.
a nice late afternoon shot.
Almost would have been better in just black and white.
Have you tried it in black and white, Kathy?
No, I haven't.
Just to test it out, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but
Yeah,
I'll be a good
yeah,
candidate.
just take a look at it and see. The only thing you have is the birds, the 3 birds in the back, with how dark they are. Difficult, I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, this next one is called Golden Eagle. It's Rogers.
And this was taken at Nature's Educators. And he's looking how we can improve it.
Amazing detail.
I like the
Is the
detail.
coloring on the beak natural?
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it blue like that?
Mhm.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Huh.
He was saying in the immature eagles, it doesn't turn yellow until their heads turn white.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
The immature ones look like that.
The eye is beautiful.
The only thing I would do is I would lighten his eyeball a little bit. Make his eyeball stand out, just lightly bring it up.
There's a reflection in his eye and I can't tell what it is.
It's probably one of us because we were so close to it. Seriously, I've zoomed in on some of their eyes and it's actually us in the background.
yeah, I bet.
Might take that white feather out there, just there.
Right there.
So, yeah. We're blending.
But again, especially if you can get that close, then you get that depth of field depending upon how far that foliage is that's back there, but. But yeah, the background is not, to me anyway, it's not at all distracting. It's not.
Maybe slight vignette,
Yeah.
because that would take care of that upper right corner and the lower left.
Yeah,
corner.
good point. Yeah.
I like the way the light circles the head and the feathers. They wouldn't let me pet that one either.
Darn. This one's called Gotcha. It's Bruce Ryman's.
So after I submitted it, Jane had mentioned that the fences, or the fish is too dark. I did another image that obviously I didn't submit. And darkened, or brightened up the fish and lightened up the background actually, but anyway.
I was taking this picture at Harbaugh over where Paul goes. And he was on a log, he took off, and I took a series of shots, and then as I was reviewing him, he went from no fish to a fish, and I'm like, where the heck did he get the fish? And there was where he got the fish. So.
And what I told Bruce when I first looked at this, I was going, what's the gotcha? And then I saw the fish down here in the lower section, so.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
He's in his beak.
It's a very narrow little fish.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I didn't see that either.
Hit the
Right
Z
down
key.
to the beak.
See?
Yeah, all right, I see it now.
Nope, I guess it's over, yeah. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, that back wing is the highest point of contrast, so it
Yeah, I love the back.
tends,
Right,
that's why you look
Darken
not
some of
to
this here.
face.
right. In the sequence, are there anywhere the bird's head face get that kind of illumination? Like, meaning if you were like. as it comes
His
back
head's
up?
up in the rest of them, so yeah, you see the fish. But I like this one because of the different
moment.
ways looking.
Right.
It's different poses.
Super.
But I did do one, like I said before, after I'd submitted it, after Jane said that. And lightened it up, and it's much more, you can see the fish better,
Okay.
so. Just imagine he's better.
It's beautiful. I can see it in my mind.
Yes, it's however you want to imagine it.
This one's called Graffiti on the Move. It says Bruce Raymond's as well.
So I was just trying some intentional camera movement. This train was going by with the graffiti and I wanted to do slow shutter and then the train stopped. So. Made no movement. And I just was wondering if did I do it right? Does it look realistic or does it just look like one of my regular pictures?
Well, because there's blur on the train and the building, you can tell that you blurred everything. Whereas if you would have panned, the lettering on the train would have been not as blurry. But it's still, you've created motion, you've created movement in the image, which still looks cool.
How about the crowd? Any suggestions, sir?
I just try to darken that up, that foreground a little bit there, the concrete in front of the tracks.
Yeah, just maybe do a,
Yeah, just darken.
darken up the.
darken it a little bit.
Right up into here.
Okay.
But those panning shots are fun when they bring, but
Yeah.
like on the lettering, like the GATX, I mean, that part is fairly sharp, so it looks like,
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
you know,
Was the train moving or still?
It stopped. I was just doing my own thing with it.
Oh,
Yeah, it had stopped.
How did you get the motion of?
Did you-
Background?
you probably started the picture before you moved the camera, didn't you?
I think I might have.
Yeah, that's how.
Okay,
I cranked the shutter speed way down and then.
right.
I think I took a picture and then did some movement.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
You didn't do a Photoshop of.
this is
Ah.
straight out of the camera. Little crop, maybe a little adjustments, no Jane magic. It's basic Bruce.
This one's called Great Horned Owl. This is Rogers.
Yeah, awesome detail in the eyes, around the feathers around the eyes.
This was earlier in the morning, and it was still very foggy, as you can see. I darkened the fog down to try to bring the owl out a little bit further, but then the question is whether that's the right amount of darkening.
Yeah,
I still wanted to show the fog, because
I think the green's too dark, too light.
Too light?
For me.
Bring the luminance down just a hair.
Yeah, on the green.
I agree.
But not, you got the green on the foliage is the same color as the green on the eye, so when you do that,
You can
you're
mess
gonna have
that
to
up.
make sure that
Yeah.
you don't do the eye too. Yeah.
Because you don't want to bring that up.
Another way to do it too is like the radial gradient around his head inverted,
Yeah,
and then you get
Or
the
object
whole
grasp
thing around it.
or something.
With the Lightroom, the new upgrade, it selects foliage. So you might be able to do that and then just darken down that without affecting the eye.
Good idea.
Have you thought about, I don't know if this is a good idea or not, that changing the white background, the fog there, to a slightly different color? I don't know, if trying a blue or trying even a darker green that it would like it be filled in with green. I don't know. Just
I haven't tried it, no.
Might even do just a tighter portrait type shot.
That's what I was wondering, too. Get a little bit off for that left side.
You know, make it a square.
But I like the branch in
Okay. This one's called a Harris Hawk. This is Rogers.
This is one in, again, Nature's Educators and, in flight. The background was sort of uniform.
I love it because you've got that color harmony in the background
Yeah.
as in
Picked
on
up
the
the wind.
wings. That I'm amazed that if that's exactly how you shot it, it was your lucky day that day for background and bird.
Nice sharp eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to Ali's point, that green works really well with the colors of the blue and the red, like you said, kind of that harmony, the way that those colors work.
Yeah.
And you've also got a little bit of the blue that's in that background, almost sort of matching the wings, but not
Almost
distracting
matching,
from it.
Mhm.
When you're shooting something like this that's moving, what are your focus and tracking settings?
It's focusing on the eyes.
So you have it on animal, eyes, continuous.
I think it's beautiful. I love how the eyes are looking straight at you. It's a gorgeous Harris Hawk in flight photo.
The detail in the feather, very nice.
Yeah, and that depth of field, it really works well on this one.
I was gonna say, just a slight vignette on the corners, maybe, just to
Yeah.
draw your attention to that more to the top.
Gorgeous. This one's called ID Shadows, Darren.
Yeah, I was just walking around Idaho Springs one day and saw this and took a picture of it. I don't need any critiques or feedback. It's just something different. You guys can tell me your thoughts, that's fine, but it's not going beyond this point, so it's just something that caught my eye, and I like the lines and the shadows and
The texture.
the texture
yeah.
on the wall, so I made my wife stand there for 20 minutes while I took a picture of it.
Aaron, there's no water.
Well, I had to walk around to get the shadows, like every 2 or 3 feet you move, the whole scene changed, you know? So I had to walk around to try to get everything lined up and in the corner. So if you look in the upper right-hand corner, you got the big base of the stairs in the corner, right? But then in the bottom left, you got the little railing shadow.
Yeah.
I couldn't get the same structure in both corners without having it not be straight. That frustrated me. So I ended up just having to go with it like this.
Yes, I like it.
Yeah,
And the separation of the lines all, I can see what you're going through as far as like walking around finding the vision. I think you found the right one. I like the separation of all of those lines and the way that the shadows are a big part of what makes this, I think.
The diagonal is
balance
great.
between the
I like
structure
that
and the
diagonal.
Yeah.
I just-
My wife is very patient. I was happy, but I took her to the hot springs up there, so
All right.
she was happy, yeah.
I like all the little triangular shadows, the shadows that make the triangles.
Yeah.
The only thing I might try playing around with is I'd get rid of that pole and the shadow of the pole.
You
So
would?
One continuous,
No.
one continuous black and white.
This one's called Mixed Light. This is Kathy Ballas.
This was downtown, just kind of walking around and caught the side of a building. And it originally it's much softer and a flatter tone. So use the contrast and texture, and I don't know if it makes it, over dramatic. But what was so interesting is it actually looks like windows, but they're not. They were a reflection from another building onto just the solid brick wall. And then you've got the lamp post and that shadow. So it just was different in terms of the effect of I called it mixed light because that's really what it is, kind of just that mixture of the reflection from across the way to the angle of the sun.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I like that.
Really cool.
Yeah.
The only thing I would do is get rid of these little white boxes down here and.
Yeah, I know. It's not competition, so I didn't bother. I didn't
Yeah.
take the time.
And I would even get rid of the trash can.
You know,
if
I
could.
debated about that, but I actually kind of decided that I liked it in terms of kind of a point, an anchor, so to speak. So I think I could go either way on that.
Yeah.
I really debated and decided just to leave it in for now and then get your feedback, of course, but
Well, I definitely would get rid of the white.
yeah, I would, for competition, I would,
Yeah.
I just threw it up and.
More than a mouthful, Bruce Norman. Good job.
10 out of 10.
One of my buddies was going to Iceland, so he borrowed my Iceland book, and this is on the cover of it. And I was asking people, what do you think my title for it was Help Me. And he said more than a mouthful. And I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Where was this at again?
Iceland.
Nice, okay.
So having never seen this in person. Do they get all of them at once or do they
Okay,
get
so
one
I
at a
researched,
time?
I researched that question because I didn't know either. They have like these little prongs on their beaks inside. And so if they snag one fish, it stays and they can get more.
Okay, cause I was thinking if you get one, it would fall out if you open
Yeah,
your mouth,
exactly.
right?
Because they fly for miles getting this food for their.
Yeah,
And why don't they just eat the one when they get it? Why do they have to collect them?
I don't know. The thing I liked about it is that there's one facing one way and one
Yeah,
facing the
yeah.
other way.
No,
great.
this is
It's
a
great
fantastic
picture.
image. I'm just more curious about the habit or the why they do things.
The fish with the big eyes and their mouth open.
Yeah. I've not seen it this close up before. This is great.
Yeah, I have the whole bird,
Mhm.
but I just liked it cropped in.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
I
yeah.
agree. That's the story.
Yeah. Because it looks like it was raining.
It was raining.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the rest of the story.
Okay.
Oh,
We paid $50 to go on this puffin tour. We go across this flat thing, we climb up this hill, walk around for half an hour, we see 4 puffins. Week and a half later, we go to this location where it's free and there's puffin burrows on the side of it. And they're flying back and forth in front of you. It was incredible. And I saw hundreds of puffins there.
I forget the name of the island.
Yeah, I've got it. It's
Is that on the south part, yeah?
unpronounceable.
Yeah, it's like a million letters.
It's.
Yeah.
Yes.
a lot of K's and J's.
Yeah,
Lots of B's and Z's.
but I can get you the information.
Great job.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I've got some.
Yeah, beautiful.
Has 10.
This one's called Morning Glow, Tony.
Hmm.
It's El Dorado Canyon, Darren?
Yeah.
We were up there shooting one morning and he said, this is a shot I always wanted to get. So I jumped out and took it. And what I did with this one, Photoshop has that new distraction removal
Mhm.
feature.
Mhm.
I took out the wires.
Yeah.
But I like the morning light on the side of the formation. That's it.
right?
I always stop right there and take.
It's like gold.
It does.
In the morning, that light hits that.
And what's nice as far as composition, so that the tree that's coming down from the right from the top. There's separation. A little bit, but at least it's separated where the pine needles on that one are not intersecting with the trees that are coming up. The only thing, maybe take that branch out that's up on the far upper left,
Yeah.
the one that sticks out, but the rest of it all looks like it belongs because they all have branches that are connected down to it.
Okay.
I mean, and then again, just a small suggestion, you don't have to do that, but that would be the only thing, but the separation, what I was looking at real closely was those ones that are coming off from that, the trees that the pines that are coming up from below, and that's not always easy to do. A lot of times they intersect and that, but you got that one really nice.
Mustang makes it happen. Bruce, Norman?
So Dave Purcell, one of my buddies is selling this Mustang. And he asked if we take some photos of it. And so we went over by there's this place over by Chatfield, and we got some sunset photos and stuff. And we had him drive by a few times. And just this, I got 2 frames where I thought the panning worked out really, really pretty good.
Oh, looks good.
I'd say so, yeah, you did good.
Yeah. Yeah, because everything is so sharp on the driver, like you can see the detail. Getting that in a panning shot is fixed.
And I remember every jingle from the old days. And so the title is Only Mustang Makes It Happen. Only Mustang Makes Life Great. Mustang 68. So that's an actual sticks in my head from 1968.
I like the wheels.
Yeah, every other shot, the wheels are all squiggly and everything.
Oh, I like the wheels, yeah.
Oh, you did a great job.
Yeah,
Oh,
nice
yeah,
job.
that's good.
Very nice.
Panning, to me, panning is hard.
It is.
It's always
Yeah.
hard.
It's a black, car's black. But I turned it into a black.
Thinking candy apple red or something.
No, it's a black car.
Did you give him a copy of this?
Oh, yeah, he's trying to sell his
Oh.
car, so he's got all these.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sally.
I like it. Okay, on the way home, this is Kathy Ellen Chin. Kathy?
Hi, this is another one. Then we were in the Tule Lake National Wildlife Refuge with more tundra swans late in the afternoon. They were just, I'd never seen tundra swans before, and I felt privileged to see them.
Are they tundra swans or trumpeter swans?
I am pretty sure I looked up the difference and that they were tundra swans because the black beak goes all the way back to their eyes. But it's possible that I misidentified them too.
No, you're probably right. I have no idea. Yeah, cool shot. I like the
Yeah,
cloudiness.
Yeah, good position.
Yeah, either way, it's always awesome to see them.
It looks cool.
Pretty rare to see them.
Well, apparently, if you want to see them, a good place to go see them is at the Tule Lake Wildlife Refuge in Northern California, very close to Oregon. Because there were like a huge flock of them, and we saw them a couple days in a row.
What time of the year was it?
It was late February,
Okay.
but I think if we go back to visit them we would love to go back and visit them. They're good friends anyway. We would like to go back in March because also the sandhill cranes apparently go through there in March as well. And there were just all kinds of birds and waterfowl and bald eagles, just a lot of wildlife.
And nice that they're right above that horizon. I like that, where they're at. The only thing I was thinking, maybe down on the bottom edge where some of the trees intersecting are cutting right there, maybe take out a couple of the ones that are just touching the bottom edge, so you have that clean edge on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that one over on the right, just to clean the edges in that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they had just gotten 3 feet of snow the week before we got there.
Nice.
Thanks.
Okay, this is called Oregon Brilliance and it's gotta be Darren's.
Yeah, this is mine. This is just an image at Short Beach near where I grew up, and the creek is, it flows all year round, but sometimes it's just the water is kind of like under the rocks. So this is a focus stacked image. The camera is probably only 5 or 6 inches away from those, or the lens is probably only 5 or 6 inches away from the rocks in the foreground, and so I just focus stacked it, and then I took one of the images that I shot where the water was the best and blended that in, and
Yeah, terrific. Wow,
Really nice.
love it.
Nice to get that sky too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sky's nice.
That's beautiful.
yeah.
Is that a tree?
A tree up in.
Yeah, there's a tree on that's growing out of the top of the rock. And thanks.
Where did you grow up, Darren? In Oregon?
I was born and raised in Tillamook.
Okay.
The cheese place.
He makes cheese and it's part-time.
Hey, I'm a retired cheesemaker.
Cool.
Technically, yeah. It's like 7 or 8 images.
Oh, no, the
stacked.
focus, I mean, for
No, all the exposures are the same.
other socials,
Yeah,
So you had about, I was gonna ask you, how many focus points did you do?
probably at least 7 or 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
The wider you go, the less you need, but yeah, I always overshoot. So
Yeah.
there, I may have taken 20, but I might have only used 7 or 8.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Hey, this one's called Osprey Lunch, Bruce Norman.
Yeah, same place Jane shot her, I'm sure, only the week before.
Where?
Up St. Vrain.
Right.
Oh.
I was there for a couple of hours, and then I was literally in my car pulling out of the space because some guy there had gone over to another pond, and as I pulled out, 2 birds came overhead, so I reparked my car and waited like half an hour, and this bird, you could tell he was serious because he circled the lake a bazillion times and then went down and got down. Good.
Wow.
Awesome
What was
catch.
your lens?
Sorry,
What lens did you use?
I have the 2-800 on Canon.
That was the 2-800 lens?
Yeah,
Wow.
That's great. How long did you have to wait in all, you said 30 minutes for?
so I was there from 3 o'clock, a little before 3 o'clock till like 6:15
Okay, that's great.
or something like that. So I was there 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
And saw, I don't know, 8 to 10 birds fishing, maybe a little more.
Yeah, we went up in the morning the next week. And we were there probably an hour. And the weather turned on us, but we saw 6 or 8 birds.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's great.
But you deliberately chose that time for the,
Yeah, early, so yeah, one of my
Yeah.
buddies went up there and camped there for 3 or 4 days. He said, be there before from like 6 to 9 or like 4 to 7.
This is Outdoor Portrait by Michael Rhino.
Yeah, so I went out, a friend was getting ready for a competition thing for the Mrs. Colorado pageant, so I took some photos of her. This is just over in Lone Tree, and actually used off-camera flash to get a little bit more light on her, but was using the so over at Lone Tree, the station that's over there, the train station.
Yep.
The tunnel that goes across I-25, just kind of used that light there and took several photos of her over the one, kind of on a cold and cloudy afternoon.
So you have a softbox or anything, or just a flash?
It was a softbox, just like a 20-inch softbox that was there. So, but I mean, it was also mixed with the natural light, right? So it just kind of enhanced it a little bit from what the natural light was throwing on.
I think the background really brings out the portrait of the lady.
So what are those trailing lines then?
Trail, yeah, not opposite of leading lines, trails back.
Yeah, that's a cool location. I've photographed portraits there.
Yeah, and I just kind of went over and kind of scouted it one afternoon and kind of looked at some of the buildings and the area and so forth and that, but then when I saw that tunnel back there, I thought it kind of added some interest, added some texture, but you also still had some light that came through.
Does this go over I-25 or under I-25?
Over.
This is the one that,
Right above the parking lot.
okay,
Yeah, on the parking lot, you go up to like the third level. This is like the big parking lot there. at
The parking ramp.
Yeah, correct.
And it's
And
to the east.
I think it's a third level, you go a couple levels of stairs or drive up there or whatever. And then it goes across up above.
Like the shadow on her cheek and her jaw. Very nice.
This one's called Patience. It's Bruce Ryan's.
This is when Carino and I did the state park cruise tour. We went to 4 parks that morning. And this one, this Kestrel, he's been at Cherry Creek. He's pretty consistent over there and he was just hanging out instead of a bird on a stick, it's a bird on a metal pole.
Just
But then
another post.
as we pulled up and he turned and looked at me and I thought, oh, okay, but I guess it's a bird on a post. But any suggestions on maybe a vignette? I don't know. What do you think?
I would prop it down a little from the top.
Okay.
I like the position of it, so many times you see the birds that are looking at you with the chest forward. I like the way its head is completely wrapped around until you're seeing the back of it like that. It's just a different perspective than you see in so
Yeah.
many of the bird photos.
Yeah.
The texture and that with that. But it looks good. As far as, whatever was in the background, it's like invisible, right? There's a lot of sky or whatever. it is
Yeah, the
back there.
sky.
So, which is, again, really nice to get it like that.
Yeah, it was a good background. There was a lady on the road to our left and she was taking pictures. We stopped, took these and then drove in front of her real quick and she gave us a dirty look, so.
Whereabouts in
Karina would know. He probably
Cherry
knows.
Creek? Whereabouts in
We were
Cherry?
turning into the shooting range.
Yeah.
Oh, in the shooting range.
Yeah, just
Okay.
making that turn from the main road.
Yeah,
the shooting
up
range.
into there. Okay.
He's been there before, he or she, and sat on a tree and we were 20 feet away and just looked up. I mean, he was very, that one that we shot, he said that for a long time, we never bothered, and this one was not, it was, that post was only, 3 or 4 feet off the ground, and he was not concerned with us at all. He didn't get the memo.
The only thing I do is do subject masking, bring up his saturation,
Yeah, his color. a little bit.
maybe a little bit of bring it the yellow also, and then also with the graduated filter around him and then inverted, so he sticks out from the background.
Okay.
Kind of like vignette.
Like you can yet.
I call this portrait experiment because that's what it was. And this was obviously taken in Africa. It was not in the studio.
I was gonna say, you do this in your basement?
But
The neighbors.
I had seen some things on YouTube about taking a picture in nature and darkening the areas, et cetera, making it more like a portrait. So this was my attempt at it. And the actual picture has a very kind of light blue sky with some branches in it, et cetera. So I kind of got rid of that, but that's how the light was hitting him, but I just worked on it a little more, so.
Did a good job.
Yeah.
Came out great.
And on my computer screen, it looks a little bit better than up there in that the left edge. Here, there's clear separation here. up there, it looks like they kind of blend together a little bit, but on the screen here.
Yeah,
it looks
there's more
really good.
detail
Yeah.
on the screen here.
It's a little warmer on the computer screen too.
Yeah, it looks like a studio portrait.
I
Yeah, it
know.
does.
I had Rembrandt lighting
Yeah,
on them and
yeah, you
everything,
did.
you
I
know,
was to say the Rembrandt effect.
Right, yeah.
but that was the way it was, and I just kind of worked the light and dark and anyway, I just was experimenting with, and that's why I called it portrait experiment.
You did a good job.
Yeah, you did. Okay, this one's called reflection capture. Tony?
Yeah, I played with the transform feature on this to get that front building square. So that the reflection almost looks like it's behind the building.
Mhm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I did it in black and white, for different effect.
That turned out great.
Hence the title, reflection captured behind bars.
In the black and white, it's good because those horizontal lines that are going across there, the contrast of that against the, the grays and the darks in the background and that are nice. I like how that effect came out with. And I'm sure in color, it didn't have that same punch, but in black and white, it really looks good.
Thank you.
Yeah, very nice.
And to get all those straight like that is the straight lines on both the vertical and horizontal you did a really good job with that.
Did you use a tripod?
New,
You? No.
no. Handheld.
Very
But
nice.
again, using the transform feature, you can straighten just about any image out. If you've got enough base to work with.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The only thing I would change is probably, you'd see the two little lights on the second row from above. The reflection from the lights inside the building. I'd eliminate those two lights and then the,
Up here, up
up at the
here,
very
The
top,
second row.
on the second row, right there, yeah. Yeah, just those two right there. There's possibly one over
and this
here on the
one,
left too.
right there.
Yeah, right there.
I don't know.
Rocking the Landing, Michael Reno.
Wow.
So, Garden of the Gods, I took some, so I had, a couple different, 2 cameras with me or whatever, and so when I was taking like 24-70, getting the big landscape of sunrise in the morning. And then there were these 2 geese that were flying back and forth between, so if you're at Garden of the Gods, just at the main, the big parking lot that's there at the, where you have Kissing Camels Rock on the right
Yeah.
side. That platform that's up there. This is like one of the rocks. It's kind of off in the distance, but this was with the 150 to 600 Tamron lens. And I didn't really crop it, but that's all the way at 600 millimeters in that, but this is one that was just. Kind of flying back and forth between this and actually the Kissing Camels Rock. And if it was flying back over to this one and getting ready to land, I cut that. And it was just a little bit after sunrise, that kind of glow that was hitting it there on the right. Came from the sun that was coming off of the east.
I love his open mouth with his tongue.
Yeah, like I said, there were 2 that were flying back and forth, so I was. On one hand, taking the landscape shots and every once in a while trying to get this other camera to get what was going on over here on the side.
I have found, I don't know about you, but when it's morning light like that, you have. It's almost blowing out on one part
Yeah.
and then it's so much shadow on the other. It's a challenge to process.
It's contrasty, so, and you're right, I mean, I could probably try and do something to bring out a little bit more detail on the wings, but.
Very
But yeah,
challenging, yeah, nice. Shattered shutters, Darren?
Yeah, just something that caught my eye. The blue is a little off on the screen. It's more blue in real life, but. This is,
Can you shrink it a little so we can see the whole picture? Oh, there we go, that's a little better.
yeah, that's pretty much all of it. Just, this was up in Boulder, just on a trail, I don't know, it just caught my eye, so I just took a picture of it. Nothing fancy.
But I like it, the story it tells. And it's like there's a window missing over to the right.
You know, the texture and.
I don't like the one that's on the top of like where the roof area is. There's
Uh-huh.
that other partial one.
Yeah.
I could probably use generative fill and get rid of that, but I was trying to figure out like how much do I crop down, or, you know, if you crop all the way to the roof, then you don't have, it's too tight, so. I don't know, this is a location I'll go back to probably several times this summer en route to another location, so I'll probably shoot it and hopefully maybe the vines will grow up the side of the wall a little bit, make it a little more interesting throughout the summer. We'll see. I don't know, just something different.
Yeah, the computer, the blue's more vivid than that screen.
That's very different for you.
Yeah, I love the blue.
Well, yeah, I shoot a lot of things, like, you guys wouldn't believe all the stuff that I shoot, just random, but you only see generally my regular stuff, but I shoot a ton of what I call crap. Stuff like this that catches my eye, but is not, most people would never associate this with me.
I like your idea though of taking it out from the top. That window, part of the window up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one's called Spring Dew. This is one I took. Went up to Pearl Street Mall up at Boulder, and they all the boxes just had tulips. And some were gone already, but it was early morning and we were very fortunate. Was Elaine and I went up there, and it was overcast, so we didn't have harsh shadows.
Mhm.
And then the dew was just filled with dew, and it was just I really liked it.
Beautiful colors.
Yeah.
That was all natural that was there, that wasn't.
Yeah,
and
that's
then-
all.
And nice.
That's all natural, yes.
How'd you get the background so dark?
Well, I had a very shallow depth of field, and Photoshop does wonderful things.
But it looks natural, I mean,
It does.
it doesn't look
It
like you
does.
darken the background.
Macro lens, or what was the,
No, I was just using a very basic lens, 28-400, so.
Wow.
Very basic lens, and this one is, yeah. Shame on me, I did have my tripod and I did not use it, but I did shoot this handheld. And I was fortunate that I had two pictures, did a little focus stacking, so I could get all of that in that I did, so.
Good job.
Wow.
Nicely done.
This one's called Sunrise.
So this is the location I've had on my map or in my Google Maps for a long time, and I never really did anything with it. This is Pulpit Rock down in Colorado Springs. It's a very short hiking trail. It's a 1.7 miles round trip. Huge parking lot, nobody there. And I went up, I don't know, last week sometime, I think it was, and just went up there to check it out and see what it was like, and it's actually a really cool place for if you like rock formations and you like, and there's more than this. This is just one side of it. You can go on the other side too. And if you climb up a little bit, you have, well, if you go on the other side, you're looking straight over at Garden of the Gods and Pikes Peak. But the morning I was there, it was cloudy, and so Pikes Peak wasn't showing, but this is another image that's focus stacked, so that I could get front to back sharpness, and just one of the compositions that's up there.
What time was
Yeah, sunrise,
it?
yeah.
so you started hiking like in the dark then to get there probably?
Like 5:30 maybe. So I mean, it doesn't take very long to hike up. And with all the clouds, the light was delayed a little bit, so it wasn't, you know, the light was coming in and out of the clouds. So I got about 4 or 5 decent shots in the early morning light.
I like that
Yeah,
foreground
nice.
rocking.
So,
I mean, the background is beautiful, but that foreground adds to the depth.
yeah. It's a place I'll definitely be going back to. I have an idea for fish islands that I want to shoot there, so
It's a park, is it, what's the name of the park?
it's just called Pulpit Rock.
Open Rock.
It's like the most basic generic place
Yeah.
and it's right behind the BMW dealership. And, yeah,
And it's where now again?
Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs, okay. that's
Yeah,
right.
it's, I'm surprised you don't see more pictures of it
Yeah.
because it's,
Yeah.
Sounds like a road trip.
We will now.
yeah, the next
Yeah.
meeting, it's not gonna be.
Yeah.
Mike will be there tomorrow morning. It's
Yeah.
done right.
He's driving there tonight.
I won't be there.
I will say, I don't know what the hours are in the park, but I believe it's open 24 hours and you definitely could go up there and shoot at night. Because you would have the light of Colorado Springs, obviously, but there's areas where you can shoot directionally to get the rocks and the Milky Way, so.
Possibly do some light
Oh,
painting on the rocks. huh?
Yeah,
Oh.
it opens up by the end. Yeah. I
Okay.
didn't see a gate there, but I wasn't really paying attention, so. But yeah, it's a cool place.
This one's called Sunrise.
Yeah, this is at Rocky Mountain Arsenal. Just went over one morning looking for some animals and clouds were low and the sun was coming up and I just took this picture of some trees, dead
cool.
trees there.
I like the trees.
Yeah.
I like how they all curve to the left, those two in the middle.
Silhouettes.
Very nice.
Yeah, this is not, and like you said, a lot of people go to Rocky Mountain Arsenal for the mule deer and wildlife, but there are some interesting trees there. That's all photographed.
Yeah, there's some landscape opportunities there. Rocky
Definitely.
Mountain Arsenal. Yeah, that was a sunrise. That was the sun right there.
I wonder if it was the same morning that I shot a similar scene at Garden of the Gods where the sun was like trying to break through the clouds. Was this last week?
No, it was a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
So reality station, Tony?
This is one I just decided to have fun with. See so many pictures shot of this view of the station. Tried to do something, took the stairs out of the bottom,
Like down below, they say.
grabbed it for a panoramic. The Aurora Borealis with stars from Norway. If you look in the Aurora, you will see a UFO.
Yes.
And then on the platform in the middle, you should see 3 aliens with backpacks. I changed the toning on the white bars, down on the platform. Just to give it a different look, different feel. I just thought it was a fun shot.
Now we know why the station is empty.
Shot with my cell phone.
It's very creative.
Neat.
I love it.
Oh, it's great.
This one's called Surveying. This one's my shot. Just had a lot of detail. I liked how the wing, was over the head and made it high key. Because the sky was boring as heck.
It's like a painting.
What it would look like with a black background.
I think it would, you'd lose the wings then, all the wing.
I think the title should be here, fishy, fishy, fishy.
You gotta get a moon picture with a blue sky. And then you wanna blur the moon like motion blur, like you're panning it,
Yeah.
and then put it behind this. And then tell people you just panned.
Yeah. Or you could add an alien and a UFO.
The Aurora Borealis.
I mean, with the white sky, there's unlimited possibilities. It's so easy to mask it out.
We're getting really creative now.
It's late at night.
Yeah. Anyway, I liked all the detail and the rest of it and the feathers, so.
Yeah, nice detail.
Very nice.
And the first point you brought up, that was the first thing I saw too, that separation right there with the wing, the way it's framing the head, right there, really nice.
Okay, the head, Carino.
And this is at Stern Park, it's hooded magenta. Yeah, I just kind of like to, a lot of times you don't see these birds close up. You don't see any detail on what their head actually looks like.
Yeah.
So I kind of like seeing what the bird actually looks like close up.
It's very sharp.
Mm.
And then what's the bird's called what? The duck or the?
Hooded cancer?
Cause there was one group I went out to, but they're always way over by the island. You can't get this close.
You're talking about the wood duck?
Yeah, yeah.
The wood ducks, yeah.
The wood ducks sometimes, the wood ducks will sometimes come in on that island, but then they'll kind of swim on that inside shore. I was there a few weeks ago. There was one. Sometimes, not
Yeah,
always.
sometimes.
Right.
And you oftentimes don't see the tail up like that.
I'm just amazed at the detail they have in their head
Mhm.
and all the feathers. And that head goes up and down.
Yeah,
That crest, it'll be flat. And then right now he's in the mating season, so they got all their heads standing up and they're croaking.
Okay, this one's called The Last One Twist Turn. This is Kathy's.
This is mine, and it was downtown, below the Millennium Bridge. Saturday morning, hardly anybody was around. And this, I had seen him earlier and he was with a lady that was taking, photos. So this was his, probably for his portfolio or whatever. So I asked him if I could take some pictures and he said, sure. And so then he started twirling and moving all around. The only one I took that he was really facing, looking at me. There were some that he was upside down. So my questions on this is, you could flip it to black and white, but I came back to this because I liked having the skin tone obvious, and then I liked the contrast with his shoes, his yellow shoes. But black and white's okay. And then the other thing is the background, putting it a solid background, or does the environment help in any way or distract? So just how to make it a better image. If you blocked out everything and then just put in a solid background.
I think it looks good there. I like that. I like that better.
I like where it is.
In a perfect world, you could get up just a little bit higher. So that black behind it was all covered. Right at the top of his head. you got that-
Right.
If you were just up a little higher and. But I mean,
She's so
that's
short.
great the way it is, I think. Yeah, she's too short. You can stand on my shoulder.
Actually, this is from the ground. I mean, I actually had to get down to the ground.
Yeah. No,
And I'm pretty short anyway to get the face.
yeah, I don't, so you might lose some of the,
But I could make it more solid up there or whatever.
clone it, I guess, or something.
And I think, the waterfall, I mean, if it was competition, I'd probably do away with the water in the background.
Just darken that line above his head.
Yeah,
That's all.
I mean, should it be darker in the background, totally darker?
No, it's brown, the way it is.
Yeah, there's good
That gives
contrast.
us context for, being in the street.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
It's just this light area right
Yeah,
here.
just
Yeah.
darken that.
Tone that down.
But the water in the background's okay?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That adds to it.
Looks like somebody.
And then the other thing I was, trying to adjust the color tone on his skin, and then I realized, that he has his face is tan, and, he had a shirt off, so he's paler underneath than,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for stuff like that, I would just use the brush. I would make a mask, use the brush tool, go over his shoulders and back and then darken those up. It's.
yeah.
Mm.
Cause there was something kind of
2
odd about
seconds.
the contrast on his skin on the back and then his face.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.